Right now, a suspect in the murder of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. What we know about him and how investigators say he was caught. Plus, President Trump moves to expand his anti-crime initiative to another city where he says he's sending the National Guard next. This is News 3 Now at noon. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. I'm Armand Rahman. Josh will be back on Tuesday. Well, we begin with continuing coverage from last night. An Amber Alert is active for a Portage County child. Law enforcement says she may be with her uncle. Ruby Lehman was last seen at her grandmother's house in Almond. Police say they believe she's now with her uncle, Jordan Coyle. Ruby is 6 years old with brown hair and green eyes. She was last seen, as you saw in the previous slide, wearing a lavender dress with smiley faces and white shoes with characters Lilo and Stitch. Coyle here is 34 years old with red hair, a beard, and mustache. He has blue eyes and is about 6'3" tall. Coyle has a peace symbol tattoo on his left chest. He also has a dinosaur, puppy, butterfly, and cat tattoos on his arm. He's believed to be driving a white 2001 Ford F-250 with a Wisconsin license plate WC2249. If you know where they could be, here's the number to call, 888-304-3936. That's the number right there at the bottom of your screen. Well, President Trump announced this morning that the suspect in the Charlie Kirk murder has been caught. The 31-year-old prominent conservative activist was shot and killed Wednesday during an event at Utah Valley University. Andres Gutierrez reports from Orem, Utah, where authorities say they believe the alleged gunman acted alone.
We got him.
Authorities identified the suspected gunman in Wednesday's fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
The development comes after the FBI released surveillance video overnight of a person seen on a roof, then jumping down.
Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" Catch!
Essentially, somebody that was very close to him turned him in.
President Trump broke the news on Fox and Friends, saying a minister and the father of the suspect helped in the arrest.
I hope he was going to be found guilty, I would imagine, and I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
The 31-year-old conservative activist was shot and killed Wednesday at Utah Valley University during one of the college campus debates that he became famous for. On Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance, who is a close friend of Kirk's, along with the second lady and Kirk's widow, escorted his body home to Arizona on board Air Force Two. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Orem, Utah.
And Kirk leaves behind 2 young children. President Trump has confirmed he will attend the funeral. And happening tonight locally, the Republican Party of Dane County will host a vigil for Charlie Kirk. That's at 5:30 p.m. outside the State Street entrance to the Capitol. And President Trump is deploying the National Guard to another major city, telling Fox News he's sending the Guard to Memphis, a city he calls, quote, deeply troubled. Blue state governors have pushed back against federal intervention in their states, but the president said he's heard from red states that do want help. FBI data shows Memphis was among the top U.S. cities for violent crime and murder in recent years.
We're going to Memphis. I'm just announcing that now, and we'll straighten that out.
National Guard?
The National Guard and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military, too, if we need it.
The president said he would still like to deploy the Guard to Chicago. The government has already stepped up federal resources as part of increased immigration enforcement in the city. Democratic leaders in Illinois have threatened legal action if he sends the Guard to that state. And House Speaker Mike Johnson has appointed 5 Republicans to serve on the new January 6th subcommittee. GOP Representative Barry Loudermilk will lead the investigation. Representatives Morgan Griffith, Clay Higgins, Troy Nels, and Harriet Hageman will also join. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries announced his 3 Democratic picks earlier in the week, but Democrats oppose the new subcommittee in general. They believe the previous investigation led by their party does not need to be revisited. Republicans say the new probe will focus on the security breach of the Capitol, including intelligence failures. And happening today, the Fall River man accused of stabbing a 17-year-old and then running her over in 2022 is set to be sentenced. A judge found Dylan Lenz guilty of attempted first-degree intentional homicide. He allegedly told investigators he was trying to kill the girl. She was found in a Walmart parking lot with several injuries. His sentencing is set for this afternoon at 1 p.m. Well, First Warn meteorologist Blaze Keller joins us now. We made it to the weekend, Blaze, and a warm one is in store.
We did. We made it into the weekend, and we are kicking it off on a sunnier note. And in the work week after that morning fog burned off with more sunshine. Again, we're taking a live look on our Edgewater Sky Cam towards the Union Terrace on Lake Mendota. It's 73 degrees. It's going to be a slow climb. We may get into those low 80s. I wouldn't be shocked if we stay there. It may be hard to get into the mid-80s, but we usually hit our warmest point about 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And with southerly winds and the sunshine, it will be possible. It's just going to be like the little engine that could. Can it do it? Because we kept that cloud cover, that morning fog, for a little bit too long, in my opinion, as many of us are really hanging out in those low to mid 70s, slipping into the upper 70s. Lone Rock and Boscobel at 76 or 77 degrees, 69 in Watoma, and 77 in Janesville. Closer look at folks in Dane County. We're at 80 in Sauk City, 76 in Waunakee, as well as in Middleton. Now, starting later tonight, rain is going to start to move in out of parts of Minnesota as well as Iowa, mainly impacting most of our coverage area in the early morning hours on Saturday through at least the late morning into the early afternoon. And we could see those lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon hours on Saturday, closer to Lake Michigan. We're going to dive deeper into tomorrow's forecast and take a look at how we may be flirting with the 90s this weekend in the full forecast.
The 90s, my goodness.
Yes, yeah, but it's conditional. It's not set in stone. We'll talk about why here in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, weird little burst of summer. Thank you so much. And turning to the Packers, Green Bay looking to build off Sunday's big win on a short week against the Commanders. Under the lights in prime time on Amazon Prime. First quarter, Love connects with Tucker Kraft for 57 yards. Kraft had a huge game, 124 yards and a touchdown on the night. The drive ends with Jordan Love hitting Romeo Doubs for the score. Second quarter, Packers threatening to score. Josh Jacobs pounds it in, 84 yards on 23 carries for him, 14-0 the Pack. Fourth quarter, Packers still with the lead. Jordan Love to Kraft again. Love finished with almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Final score, 27-18. In injury news, wide receiver Jaden Reed broke his collarbone. He could come back later in the season. Green Bay moves to 2-0 and play the Browns on the 21st. The third season of the Wisconsin Huddle returns tonight on Channel 3000, and we're bringing Wisconsin sports directly to you, the fans, at home, with exclusive insights from the players and behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Wide receiver Trey Kekahuna is the guest player this week. First episode scheduled to air again tonight at 6:30, right after News 3 Now at 6 with sports director Andrew Banstra. Meanwhile, the Badgers face their first tough road test of the season tomorrow when they take on Alabama. Let's take a look at some of our predictions for the game. I've got the Crimson Tide, taking this one 38-16. Meanwhile, not as bad as Josh. He thinks it's going to be a really rough day for Bucky with a 42-3 loss. And Blaze thinks Alabama will also run away with tomorrow's game 43-7. Just want to say we all hope for Bucky to win, but we do have to be realistic. Kickoff for the game is at 11 a.m. And coming up next, why thousands of Toyota and Lexus vehicles are now being recalled. Plus, the Federal Trade Commission launches an inquiry into chatbots and potential harms to children.
The latest consumer price index shows inflation rose 2.9% last month compared to the previous August. There was a 0.4% increase from July to August. The report says the biggest drivers for the uptick were rising housing and food costs. The same day, the Labor Department also said jobless claims were up 27,000 last week compared to the week before, signaling that layoffs are also on the rise. The Federal Trade Commission has launched an inquiry into chatbots and potential harms to children. The agency said sent letters to multiple digital tech giants, including Facebook owner Meta and ChatGPT creator OpenAI, asking them to explain what steps they've taken to evaluate the safety of their chatbots when acting as companions. The move comes as ChatGPT has vowed to make changes after the company was sued by the family of a teen boy, alleging the chatbot led to his suicide. Some of the companies involved tell CBS News they will cooperate with the FTC. And nearly 600,000 Toyota and Lexus models have been recalled due to issues with the vehicle's display panel. The Japanese automaker says the instrument screen could stay blank at startup, depriving drivers of vital indicators, which could increase the risk of a crash and injury. Owners will be contacted by mid-November to take affected vehicles to the dealership for a free repair. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Now let's take a look at Wall Street now. The current stocks. The Dow is down 204 points. The Nasdaq is up 92 and the S&P is up 2 points. And our call for action volunteers are right here in the building, taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. You can call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call for action. Well, we'll have today's ag numbers up next, plus Blaze is back with that heating up forecast. And then later on live at 4, the latest from the Charlie Kirk murder investigation as law enforcement have arrested that suspect in the case. Well, Pam is out of the radio barn for today, so here are your farm numbers. Well, we could see some rain over the weekend. Here's Blaze with that forecast. Hopefully not during football, Blaze.
No, we're looking at mainly Saturday, kind of closer to Lake Michigan. We talked about it at the top of the hour. That's really going to be our only chance for rain over the weekend. But what brings that chance for rain is going to be a stalled out front, which will make the weekend warm, but it could make it an even warmer weekend if that stalled out front, say, heads a little bit further north. So we'll take a look at that in just a moment. But this is what is expected to happen as we head over the next couple of days. We've got a low pressure system that's just going to be sitting over the Dakotas. It really is not going to be moving. And so that rain is going to move on in as we head into your Saturday, and then will become partly sunny as the day goes on. Again, a lot more of that moisture is going to be off towards, say, Lake Michigan. I would say east of 90, you're going to have the better chance for that rain as we go into the late morning through at least the late afternoon. And then on Sunday, we start to dry on out, but notice that that low pressure system is still sitting up to our west. And then Monday, we continue to remain on the drier side. So let's take it in closer to home. Again, we're eyeing that chance for rain as we go overnight into Saturday to begin. Folks further to the east, you're going to have a better chance for that rain and thunderstorm activity, which should not be severe, as we go overnight Friday into Saturday. Again, we're eyeing more of that rain closer to the Lake Michigan shoreline as we go throughout the afternoon hours on Saturday. A little bit more sunshine further to the west. In terms of rain, I wouldn't be surprised widespread. We get a 10 to a quarter of an inch of rain closer to Lake Michigan, and folks underneath that activity for a little bit longer. Maybe an isolated inch to inch and a half. That's certainly not going to be widespread. The grass is starting to get a little bit more brown. We could use a little bit more rain, but we're still not seeing any abnormally dry or even drought conditions popping up across a majority of Wisconsin. We got the latest update in the drought monitor yesterday, and it continues to show good news for Wisconsin in terms of dry conditions. But What also we can expect over the next couple of days and really beyond that into next week is the continuation of warmer than average temperatures, especially as we head into the weekend and the start of next week by the order of 10 to 15 degrees above normal. But that's if this stationary front wants to play ball and wants to really make its way into Wisconsin. So as we head into Saturday, I've drawn the stationary front here. Notice that those south of the front are in the low to mid 90s, but those north of the front, Madison, the Dells, La Crosse, Rapids, Wisconsin Rapids, Green Bay, and Milwaukee, we're in the 70s and 80s. So imagine if that moves further north. And if it does, that means that we tap into the 90s. Again, Sunday afternoon, that stationary front still off to our south. We're hanging out in those low to mid 80s. A few of us closing in on the 90s, but a lot more of that heat is off to our southwest. So these stationary fronts can really be kind of the brick wall that you're traveling at 100 miles an hour that just stops that warmer air from moving northwards. If that front moves further north, we could easily get into those upper 80s to low 90s. If it stays further to our south, I would say we're probably going to top out in the low to mid 80s here across central and southern Wisconsin, across southwestern Wisconsin, maybe upper 80s to low 90s. So Armand and folks at home, this is what we're going to be watching as we head into the weekend, but let's plan on the immediate future, a quiet end to the work week, showers and thunderstorms on Saturday, and regardless if the front is over us or not, we will be quiet on Sunday.
There we go. And you know what? Sunday, not a bad day to sit inside and catch the 77th Annual Emmy Awards, because they're on CBS to celebrate the best and brightest in television. Dina Demetrius has a preview of the big event.
With the red carpet now out at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles, the countdown has begun.
We're going to go write more today and then tomorrow and rehearse.
Emmy host and comedian Nate Bargatze is set to bring his family-friendly style to the big stage for the first time.
I think I need to be entertainment, and I need to be a place where people can come and have some comfort.
I actually want to talk to you about awards season.
This year, the comedy series The Studio on Apple TV earned a record 23 nominations.
Hollywood loves to award Hollywood. So when it comes to a show like The Studio and even Hacks, that could pay off in a really big way for them.
The four of you have become known as the face of severance reform.
But with 27 nominations, the dystopian Apple TV series Severance is likely to dominate the evening.
The prodigal son returns.
With stiff competition from HBO Max's medical series, The Pit. 39 big names, including Catherine Zeta-Jones and Jude Law, are part of the star-studded lineup of presenters this year.
Look at the evidence.
Fellow presenter and star of the CBS reboot Matlock, Kathy Bates, has already made history with her Emmy nod.
She is the oldest nominee in the category for lead actress in a drama and is likely going to take home that trophy.
Emmy producers say the audience can also expect some nostalgic moments.
We've got a good Paradise moment with Sterling K. Brown and James Marsden, but we also have a reunion of two actors from Grey's Anatomy celebrating 20 years.
A tribute to some iconic shows on television's biggest night. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And to keep the winners from going over their allotted time, Emmy host Nate Bargatze says he's donating $100,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. You can watch all the excitement here on CBS Sunday night and streaming on Paramount Plus. You can also watch the 77th Emmy Awards right here on Channel 3000 this Sunday at 7 p.m. Up next, let's see what Howard's cooking in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As we wrap up our back-to-school week, we're sharing a test kitchen favorite that's just as welcome in your lunchbox as it is in your cookie jar. As we wrap up our back-to-school week here in the test kitchen, we're sharing a cookie jar favorite that's just as good as a lunchbox treat as it is as an after-school snack. And if you're thinking, who has time to bake cookies? Once you see how easy these are, you'll see that you do. What makes these so easy is that we start with a box of yellow cake mix combined with a bit of vegetable oil, brown sugar, and a couple of eggs. After that's mixed, we stir in some graham crackers that we've coarsely crushed, along with some chocolate chips. Now we drop our batter by the spoonful onto a greased baking sheet and into the oven they go. You might want to make a double batch because they disappear quickly. With each bite, you get the crunch of the graham crackers and a burst of chocolate from the chips. So if you'd like the recipe for our back-to-school cookies, along with all of this week's recipes from our back-to-school series, simply visit our website. I know you'll be glad you did. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a no-fail cookie way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Looks good, don't it, Blaze?
Yes, and you know what else looks good? The weather. As we head into this afternoon, we're going to get into those low to mid 80s by later this afternoon, sitting underneath partly sunny to mostly sunny conditions for any Friday night football. It is looking like another pleasant night. Into those 70s we'll go. Still staying quiet, but later into the evening, mainly after midnight onwards, that's when we'll become more cloudy with that chance for rain sticking around, especially for folks further east. On Saturday, mid to upper 80s over the weekend. And we'll stay there as we start off next week.
Looking great. Thanks so much for watching Houston Now at Noon. Coming up next is the bold and the beautiful. Hey, that's you, Blaze. Bold and beautiful.
Stop it.
The next newscast is at 4. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Happy Friday.